Well, hello, everyone. Hey, Mac here, along with Cheryl, Judy, Tim, and Dolphin. We want to welcome you all to our second autumn presentation we've done for everyone this season, where we're still in the autumn season of the metal element, but this time we're going to talk a little bit about safely traveling, gathering together in a healthy manner, and just some tips for staying healthy during this season. As we always do, we are going to be talking some about Sunrider Foods. So I just want to remind everybody that none of the information provided in this presentation is intended to represent a diagnosis or cure of any illness or disease. With that said, as we always do, I want to introduce anybody that's listening to this for the first time, isn't familiar with Sunrider, or just wants a little recap on what this great company is all about, why someone should even consider Sunrider International. First of all, this company has been around for 40 years. That is phenomenal in this industry where a lot of companies come and go overnight. Sunrider's been around over 40 years. It has just invested in a brand new multi-million-dollar facility in the Dallas, Texas area. Sunrider's going to be here for another 40 years and another 40 after that. Sunrider operates in over 50 countries around the world, allowing all of us, myself included, an incredible opportunity. I mean, who doesn't know somebody in another country, right? Allowing us all an opportunity to have a business outside of our home country, if that's what we choose to do. Coming out of the manufacturing industry myself, pharmaceutical manufacturing was my background. This next thing is most important to me. Sunrider internally handles all of the research, development, and manufacturing of its products. Now, I can't overemphasize this enough, folks. When you look at competitors out there, many of them will simply hand a recipe to a third party and say, make my product for me. They have no control over it. Sunrider internally handles all of the research, development, and GMP manufacturing of over 400 of the world's finest health, wellness, and beauty products. Everything from whole food nutritional foods to cleansing beverages to weight management, sports and fitness, green household, and all natural skincare and cosmetics. With that said, if I can figure out how to advance my slide, sorry, I'm getting too fast. Whoops, come back here. Well, hey, technical difficulties right from the start. Come on back. You get a preview of what's coming. One more time. Please come back. There we go. One more. With that said, and forgive me for the technical difficulties, I'm going to turn this over to Cheryl, hopefully having a much better time with transition than I just did, to talk to us about the philosophy of regeneration.
Thanks, Mac. I'm glad I'm not the only one that has technical difficulties. Now, why do I choose Sunrider and why should you? Well, let me share. Number one for me is the owner expertise, and the Chen family are expert in the field of health and science. And even more than that for me, they're legacy thinkers. So they think about passing on these products and this opportunity for generations to come, which is really important for me with my family. And secondly, that all of our products are based on the philosophy of regeneration. Now, this philosophy is the blueprint for every Sunrider product. And the reason why our Sunrider products are unique, effective, and high quality. And there's 4 principles to optimal health in our philosophy of regeneration. And the first one is we need to nourish and cleanse our body to have it in balance. And one of the little analogies that Dr. Chen shared years ago that I love is he talks about 5 horses pulling a chariot, or think of that as your 5 major systems running your body. And if one of those horses or systems is tired or slow or run down, it affects all the other systems or horses. And so what we need to do is make sure that all 5 systems or all 5 horses are fed, taken care of, and running in harmony with each other. And the second is we need to have food in our body, not chemicals. Our body is designed like food. It recognizes food, the synergistic structure. It doesn't recognize isolates, and it doesn't know how to break down. So very, very important that we're eating food in the form of herb foods as well, which is what Sunrider creates. And then the third principle is variety. there's not one element that can keep us well. It's a combination, and the ingredients have to balance each other out so that we're in balance. And Dr. Chen, being an expert, is number 4, the formulation and concentration. Dr. Chen, with his pharmaceutical background, his background in traditional Chinese medicine, and all of his other expertise, he knows how to leverage the strength of one ingredient to cover the weakness of another. And he manufactures, like Mac was saying earlier, all of our formulas. And it's developed in a trade secret manufacturing process that extracts concentrates the beneficial nutrients while minimizing the negative. And Dr. Chen can implement his philosophy of regeneration because he is an expert. He has the knowledge, creativity, and wisdom to do that. So this sets Sunrider apart. And I want to invite Tim to come on to talk to us about the metal element, which is, we're in the autumn season. The metal element is what is controlling the season now. And there are certain elements to this season which affect our lungs and our large intestine. And Tim, if you could just share with us a little bit about the lungs and what we can do.
Of course, that very well done. Always something good in there, Cheryl. Welcome everyone. Just talking about autumn is the season, and I'm using reference here to TCM.org, the traditional Chinese medicine. Autumn is a season associated with the lung and its partner, the large intestine. If you tend to catch colds or allergies in the fall, it's important to take care of these organs. The nose is I'm going to go through a couple of little things here. The nose is a sensory organ related to the lung. Runny nose, sneezing, congested sinuses, loss of smell are all symptoms of compromised lung function. The skin is the tissue associated with the lung, and if you have healthy, clear, wrinkle-free skin, it's important. If you want to have healthy, clear, wrinkle-free skin, it's important to take care of the lung and the large intestine. The taste that corresponds to and supports the lung is spicy, according to the 5-element theory. And one of my favorite things is I love spicy stuff because I can feel my mucus loosening, and it feels good. It's like you can feel it, kind of like that raw heat going through your body. And when I was in Mexico spending time there, I always noticed there was a group of gals that always used to hit this restaurant that I would visit in the morning, and they would have a bowl of jalapenos, and I'm like, whoa, what are you gonna do with that? But I could see their cheeks all got rosy, and they would have a nice little mild sweat going on, and I kind of took on that myself, and I found it to be extremely great. And I still think about that every time I have a little bit of a sweat with a whole load of cayenne pepper on there. And of course, we want to talk a little bit about the emotions. Sadness and grief are associated with the lung and large intestine. If you cry easily, you have trouble processing grief and loss, and may have an imbalance in this energy, in this subject. Anyway, one little last thing about emotion: too much grieving and sadness can harm the lung and its partner, the large intestine. Letting things go is a healthy way to stimulate the lungs' function and to get rid of physical and emotional baggage. Unfortunately, we have Conco, a specific formula meant exactly for our large intestine lungs. And when we have nutritional support, whether we're conscious of it or not, it gives us emotional support. When we satisfy a system nutritionally, we are getting exactly what we need, rather than kind of fumbling for what we need and not sure, and letting our emotions take us to the chocolate cake and the chips and the cola instead of, hey, feeling intuitively guided to where you want to be. And that's one of the things I love about all the Sunrider formulas, is you feel intuitively guided to what is going to nourish you properly. Anyway, as we can, and that's kind of my little share on Conco, but there's some other products here, and I know that Judy always has enlightening insight into these, and I'd like her to be able to take it from there. Thanks, Judy.
Well, thank you, Tim. That was fabulous. I can see why fall is sometimes challenging for me. You hit on all the things. that's a little scary. But the first up, the product Chinese Golden Seal Root, I've been a lover for even before Sunrider. But Sunriders is superior for many reasons, and I'll get into that briefly. But Golden Seal actually soothes the mucous membranes and the respiratory tract. It also supports the circulatory system, the immune system, and even the urinary tract. So how fabulous is that? And the important thing is the root. The root is the powerhouse, and that's what this is, pure Chinese Golden Seal root. And ours is even superior in that it is food grade. It's something that can be taken daily. And that's priceless in the times we're in. We're constantly surrounded by others that may not be well, all sorts of things. And then we have our own frailties, so to speak. So I always try to have 2 to 3 bottles on hand. And I have, since Dr. Dees explained that it was food grade and could be taken daily, I do almost, I've incorporated that. In fact, one of my tricks is the old, you know, I'm an Arizonaite from day one. And so we have a lot of dust in Arizona. We have a lot of dirt. I also have hay I feed to some of my pets. And so it's constant dust and allergens for many people. And depending on what I've eaten, I'm affected. So my trick is before I go out in the morning, and hopefully before any makeup, if I choose to do that, I take 4 Golden Seal capsules. And that really helps with just the little, maybe the drippy nose, which really detracts, and or any other congestion you may be experiencing. Something also that I want to share is that if any kind of eye irritation, open the capsule, make a tea, strain it through a nylon or something very, very fine so you won't get any of the grit, but it makes a fabulous eye wash. My husband would do everything from repairing cars, laying carpet, building houses. So he got a lot of injuries on his hands and all. And if like it was a hand that you could put in a Golden Seal soak, make again a powerful tea and put his hand in, if he had a cut on his fingers, we did that. Or if it's a body part that won't fit in a pan or cup, he got to where he would just sprinkle the Golden Seal from the capsule right on the wound and then bandage it. So it's fabulous. And that seal word, it actually seals the skin back together. So he had many a cut or injury that you would have thought would have to have stitches or would have to have or leave a scar, which did not, because we always grab the sun nectar and Golden Seal root. So there's that. And then our favorite, everybody's favorite, is Sunbreeze oil. My goodness, what a, I don't know what it is, but it's a miracle in a little bottle. It's just fabulous. It's our favorite one to share because all you need to do is put a drop on your hands, rub them together, and breathe in. And you have the whole room following you around wanting some. So it's fabulous that way, but you can rub it on sore muscles for tension, for everything. You know, usually we say, well, this isn't the end all be all. I'm sorry, this is. We have concentrated aromatherapy, deep muscle relaxant, a coolant for inflammation, sore muscles, and we have a heat remover for the inflammation to make you cool, and also sunburn. But have a jacket nearby because the heat just comes out of the body. Also for burns, very, very effective to get that heat out as fast as possible. And then, but if you need the circulation, you need the warmth, then it does the same thing. So thus sun for warm, breeze for cool. So I don't know who leaves home without it, because I have it in my purse. I have it on coffee tables. I have it by the bed. Wonderful for leg cramps if you ever have gotten one of those. fact, I helped a lady in Walmart with a leg cramp once because I could tell she was suffering. So it was kind of weird to ask her to pull up her trouser leg, but hey, I wanted to help her. And my next thing is Sunny Fresh. This comes in a vial and it is fabulous. It is loquat, honey, and then additional herbs. And it soothes and coats your throat. So you want to just pop the top and take the vial and let it kind of roll down your throat, and try not to drink something too soon after it, because the longer it stays there, the more it will help. So coughs, colds, sore throats, and many people use it who speak, before they give a lecture or something like that. Many singers have even felt that it improved their ability. And certainly every time we feel congested. So we have skin, as Tim explained, it inside as well. So this is good for skin, the mucous membranes, and the way some people know that loquat is good, and some people know that honey is a cough suppressant and is very healing for the throat as well. So the difference is ours is 70% to 20%, 70% loquat, 20% of the honey, and then additional herbs. And many things on the market might say they have loquat, but it's rare to find any loquat in anything higher than 20%. So we have something just so exciting here. And a lot of times with travel, we do get sore throats. And so we have our resident international travelers here to speak. And Cheryl, what can you share with us on winter travel?
Oh, wow. Tim and Judy, you're amazing. I learn so much every time I'm on these calls. Thank you so much. All I know is Tim and I would be lost without our Sunrider products when we travel. Tim is an international architect and design consultant, so he's in the air a lot and travels to Europe and other countries, and especially Mac, how jet lag can affect you, etc. And when you travel with our products, you just feel safe. You feel like you have more energy, and you don't worry about what's going on around you. And I love our hand cleansing gel, because, when you get on the plane, you want to make sure that, anything you've touched or anything, you've got something good to clean your hands, because you don't always get up and go to the bathroom. I love our fruit and vegetable rinse. And people say, well, what are you traveling with that for? Well, one of the things I love to do with it is I love to put it under my nose. And I just feel it's a great safeguard from any toxins that are in the air. And then I put a little dab of that wonderful Sunbreeze that Judy was sharing. And I love taking our apple cinnamon or any kind of New Plus, because it comes in this little package. And, if you want a good, healthy snack where you're not tired at the end of the journey, this is a great way to cover that by, just having it in your pocket. It's easy to travel with, no problems at security, et cetera, et cetera. And then I always have my Sunrider bottle and my Fortune Delight. And all I need is a bit of water, put in my Fortune Delight, and I've got a really hydrating, protective drink that I can drink the whole way on my travels. And so Sunrider is amazing for travel. And one of the stories I just wanted to share, it's not just about us. One of the trips I was going on in Toronto, there was a couple of young guys sitting beside me. And one of them had an extreme headache where he was actually bringing up, and they couldn't let him up because of the turbulence in the air. And I just couldn't help myself. So I got out the Sunbreeze, and he didn't speak English, so I couldn't really communicate with him. So I did it by sign language. And I just told him, I'm going to give him this, put it on his fingers. And I told him, hold it over his nose, put it on the back of his neck, rub it on his temple. So I was demonstrating. And so he did. And he stopped vomiting. His headache must have relaxed because there was sort of a smile on his face. And the rest of his trip went well. And when we got up to leave, people were saying to me, what did you do? And he was like thanking me. So Sunbreeze, amazing product, easy to travel with, and you never know who you're going to help. So I know all of the other people on this call travel as well. Mac, I know you're an international traveler. Tell me about your stories.
Absolutely, Sherilyn. Thank you. That's a great story for sure. And like you, I've had, many experiences traveling internationally, and the Sunrider products are what keep me healthy and sane as I travel internationally around the world a couple of times each year, similar to what your Tim does as well. And Sherilyn, I mean, I take all the same things that you do with me, the fruit and vegetable ones, certainly, because if I can, I stay in like a service apartment versus a hotel room. So I'm out buying fruits and vegetables. I'm cooking for myself as much as I can. I want to have that there. The Vita Spray is something I try to take with me every time I can, just to kind of keep my vitamin B levels up. The Sunbreeze oil, Cheryl, many times, I love it too. You're right. You can just take it out in an airplane, and even if you're smelling it yourself, it attracts people to asking questions. I've done the same thing with Fortune Delight. Bring me a hot water. I'll add Fortune Delight to the hot water on the airplane. It fills the room, when people are asking you about it. There are a number of things I do too. Obviously, I power down with Alpha 20 before I leave on any international trip. And, interestingly, I just got back from a trip to Budapest, Hungary. And I was just certain before I left on the trip that, hey, it's a guarantee. You travel international these days, you're going to come home with something, right? Well, I didn't. And it was amazing. I was gone for 10 days. I kept using my Sunrider products and foods the entire time. I used my hand cleansing gel religiously, Cheryl. Okay. And all of my other products, I came home healthy as can be. So, I mean, these things do work. And the last thing I just wanted to share, and then we'll turn it over to Judy, is coming home from this last trip. The K Pure program was launched in Hungary while I was there. And one of the things we did at the meeting is we went around and we spritzed people with the beauty water. Well, guess what, folks? On the airplane, I wanted a little refresher, so I brought out the beauty water and I spritzed myself. I had several people asking around me, would you mind doing the same for me? Came back with a couple leads. We'll see what comes out of it, but don't be afraid to use your Sunrider products when you travel. Enough from me. Judy, talk to us about local perspective in travel.
Well, thanks, Mac. All those tips would apply locally as well. So I only travel internationally when Sunrider sponsors a trip. So my last international was to the Mediterranean, so can't beat that. But I have always lived in different corners of Arizona at times. And for many years, I lived in northern Arizona. And I found that, my goodness, it's so difficult to find something to snack on with long drives, even if it's local long drives. And so my last pit stop ended up being McDonald's before the trip up the mountain. And, swirly cone, you can only have so much without it staying on the hips, as they say. So I found all I had to do was, as been mentioned already, is to be sure I had my Fortune Delight in my purse, or New Plus. And what I would do is, there was also a Circle K there. I found I could go in Circle K, and either if I didn't have water, which I usually did, but to get water, or if I really felt like I wanted a little bit of juice in it, I would just get the purest juice I could find and mix up something to travel with. So, and now that there's more restaurant going for many of us than we had for a number of years there. And so this fits in your pocket or purse, and the same thing there. I absolutely love warm Fortune Delight Lemon. That is my favorite. So when everyone else might be ordering coffee or something else, I just ask for hot water. Or in warmer seasons in Arizona, then I just get, put it in my ice water. So I encourage everyone to have a healthy alternative, whether you are indulging in something or not. You want to be able to still fortify your water. You want to have additional things in your pocket, like maybe Vitadophilus for the restaurant afterwards. So all of those things add to our pleasure. But there is one thing that is a culprit for many of us, and we're surrounded by it. For some people, it's their drug of choice, but maybe knowing a little bit more about it will help us. So Finn, please share, if you will, what that ingredient is.
Thanks, Judy. Oh, awesome, everyone. I'm definitely using my Sunny Fresh and Sunbreeze oil for my throat today, so I apologize. I have a bit of a frog in my throat. I'm not sick, but yes, sugar. And what's interesting is talking about Chinese medicine, talking about the philosophy of regeneration. This philosophy dates back thousands of years. Chinese medicine is like 3,000 to 5,000 years old. And what's really key to that is the observation of nature, and understanding nature, we understand ourselves better. And if we think about in nature, the sweet flavor is very rare. It's not always easy to find. Berries or fruit, it's very seasonal. Honey, you have to battle the bees to get the honey. Maple syrup, you have to be able to know how to tap the trees. So it's something that was always considered to be very special. And when you found it, it was like a celebration or something that made you feel good. And it wasn't until the modern day industrial revolution, the 1800s, where we really started manipulating the foods of nature. So for example, beets were not really made sweet till the 1800s. If we think about modern day apples, this became really noticeable to me in the last few years, that the genetic engineering of apples, they're now really engineered towards sugar content. So they're much bigger in size, and even the names of the new styles of apples, Honeycrisp or Ambrosia, it really gears towards sugar, not necessarily to vitamins. If you eat an old style apple like a Macintosh, or if you have old apple trees where you live, they taste different. You can really taste the flavor of apple, versus the new apples really just taste sweet without really having that distinctive apple taste. And so I was really curious about how our actual biology, our cells, we talk about how, our cells really date back thousands of years. We have that limbic brain. We talk about, the dinosaur brain, and our cells, to a certain degree, our biology hasn't changed at a cell level for thousands of years. And so our cells, respond to stress, and the stress triggers our desire for sugar. And so we're no longer being chased maybe by wild animals. Our stress is more maybe subtle or prolonged. We're sitting in traffic, for long periods of time, and we can feel the stress build up. Maybe we have to sit and be in a working situation where we don't get along with our colleagues. That can build stress, and we can't really, so it's kind of prolonged and it doesn't turn off. And so what do? We reach for that sugary treat and it's really actually your cells. It's not even just the fact that, oh, this tastes good and I want it. It's like your cells are actually looking for something to turn down the stress hormones. And so, like it says here, who stood by you when things went wrong in your life? And it's like, it's true. Sugar, to a certain degree, does that. It pacifies us, it calms us. So it's not necessarily that sugar is a bad thing, but a lot of it is the amount and what kind of sugar we're consuming. And so when we want to look at turning off that stress hormone, we've talked about this in other calls, deep breathing is helpful. Exercise can help turn off those stress hormones. And so when we're conscious or aware of our biology, then we have more control over that signal, and we can say, okay, why is my body signaling me to eat that donut? Right. And so we can actually kind of go against our biology at that point. It's like, no, okay, I'm craving that donut. Okay, when's the last time I took a deep breath? When's the last time I just got up out of my chair and moved around a little bit? So this can actually, with awareness, we can then realize that, oh, the body is signaling us that maybe my stress levels have gone up and it's trying to help me bring it down. And even in our language, it shows how emotions can describe through our taste. So things like, that was a really sweet thing to do, or isn't she a sweetheart, or you're a peach, right? So even in our language, we associate sweet with goodness and something that's desirable and calming and soothing. So sugar is not the enemy, right? But we need to learn that it's, why our body is signaling us to eat the sugar, and then how do we overcome the extreme? Like, I love this picture of this lady with her, like, just all the sugar, just, and we've all been there, right? We just start eating, you can't stop eating the chocolates or the cookies. And it's like, that's the part that we have to be aware of and take control of. And Sunrider has two incredible specific products that really can support and help us with that. And the first one is the Vita Taste, and that actually helps engage the cell receptors on our the sugar receptors on our cells. And so when we take the Vita Taste, those receptors get engaged, and so the sugar just passes through our body without it being absorbed into the cell, and without it spiking our blood sugars and all that kind of thing. And over time, what happens is it does help you lessen your craving for sugar, because again, that sugar imbalance and those hormones start to come into a balance. And when you're really stressed, you can actually open that capsule, put it on your tongue, and it will then really stop that addictive sensation to go after the sugar, because it'll make things taste not sweet. So then, you give yourself, you buy yourself some time to get over that episode. And then one of my favorites, Sun Nectar, or here in Canada, Sun Care, is that it is such a beautiful sweetener. It's stevia mixed with chrysanthemum. It's specially balanced to, again, taste beautifully sweet. It satisfies that sweet desire, but there's no effect to the pancreas. There's no bursts in spikes in blood sugar. You can cook with it. You can use it in any place where you would want to use sugar, and it's diabetic friendly. And again, it just satisfies that sweet component, and gives our bodies that calming effect, because that's really what sugar it is meant to do, is to soothe and to calm when it's used properly. And so yeah, that's hopefully that gives you a little bit more understanding and appreciation of sugar, its role. Like when we're sad or in grief, a little bit of sweet is good to soothe us, to make us feel better. But when it starts to take over, again, we just see that becomes an imbalance. Now we need to look at why am I reaching for that? Where's my emotional state? And then we can make better choices. So yeah, that's all I got for today.
Excellent.
Right on. I think that's come right over to me. We're going to talk a little bit about the large intestine, which is the partner of the lungs. And there's so many things that, like Finn said, we can tune into just to touch upon this a little bit, we can when we take a moment for a little mindful breathing, slow mindful breathing, it just turns on our intuitive ability to be able to tune into exactly what we need rather than what we think we need. And sugar is really good, like really good. It can really settle things and do all those things that Finn just mentioned. But it tends to only last for 10 minutes, and then you need another one, and then you need another one, another more, or whatever it is, like that poor girl who lucky girl who's enjoying that big cake. Anyway, we have some support things to help with the large intestine. Of course, I'm going to mention this just because it's fun. I mean, we can use our breath in so many places. One of my favorite places, I'm just to kind of show how the large intestine and the lungs are really a team. If you're in the washroom, not like for elimination, just come to your breath and just focus a little bit of mindful breathing, slow mindful breathing, and work the body a little bit. And it tends to stimulate peristalsis, so we tend to get things going, and it's so cool, and it tends to be part of my little routine. I have a happy breath every morning. So assimilate is our food that corresponds with the earth element, but it also helps in assimilation and our digestion. There's also so one wonderful food. And not just, and for any time of the year, but specifically through those change of seasons. We have 5 seasons, late summer being the one that's kind of out of mind because we don't think about it, but in the 5 element theory, we certainly do. Every time we have a change of seasons, the system tends to need a little bit of support. So like, our digestive system tends to slow down just a little bit. So it's good to have that support, but particularly through this time. And of course, Phytodophilus can't go wrong there. Unfortunately, I know we're having a little bit of a wait for it, but it's worth the wait. Let me tell you, it's probably the best natural probiotic, and Dr. Chen using apple pectin to make sure that it gets that, as a covering coating, to make sure that it gets to where it needs to be, in this case the large intestine, where that healthy intestinal bacterial flora that we so certainly need to help it break down and to make things work the way they're designed to work. And you can't go wrong with a smart gummy. You got vitamin E, vitamin B12, you got everything in there to support that whole system. Not to mention, it's kind of like lubing up the whole system inside. And they're delicious. I mean, if you want to have a little bit of sweet, go no further. It'll satisfy you. Like having 1 or 2 of those guys, and I don't think about anything else. And in fact, being with Sunrider this long, you get so many options that you don't even have to think about chocolate cake. It happens to be one of my favorites, by the way, but I don't think about chocolate cake if I want to feel good. And of course, we have fiber tone, great conditioning for that large intestine to make sure that it's getting its support. And we're having optimal eliminations and having that in the morning, which makes us feel so good and gets us rocking and rolling. And of course, we have New Plus. I can't go wrong with New Plus is just a fundamental supporter. And best protein, and also with Simply Herbs complex carbohydrate, which is really good for helping us balance those blood sugar levels. But I'm also going to mention something that it's been overlooked here. One of the best metal formulas we have is Kali. Kali is one of the best foods that we have for nourishing that system, and it's my go-to all the time, but I really, really appreciate it right now. And as we can get a little closer to the holiday season, that's still way out of mind here, but still, as things tend to switch around, we tend to start getting into larger gatherings, and we're having foods are getting thrown at us that we'd like to have a little bit of support. But in those large gatherings, Mac has a few suggestions and insights as to what we can do to have fun and support ourselves in those situations. And that's something we all love to do because we're people and human, and being together makes us feel stronger, happier, and to enjoy this journey on planet Earth. Mac,
Tim, fabulous. Hey, thank you so much. And I appreciate the way you shared about the large intestine and the mindful breathing in the morning and how that helps you. And now everyone has a tip, right? So there we go. I loved it. You're right, Tim. I mean, this is a time of year where a lot of people are coming together in gatherings, and, we want to be healthy during that period of time. And there are a number of things that we can do to be healthy during this period. Everything from balanced eating. I mean, prioritizing balanced meals with, a mixture of lean proteins, whole grains, plenty of vegetables. Avoid overindulging in high calorie things, of course, and controlling portion size is a great thing by using smaller plates is a good example. Staying hydrated. I mean, we've talked about Fortune Delight and Kali and some of the other things that we use for hydration. Certainly drinking those as fortified water or water, and limiting Dolphin, the sugary drinks and alcohol and things that trigger that sugar mechanism for sure. Mindful eating. I mean, things like, when I say mindful, I mean things like savoring every bite, okay, and really appreciating what we're eating. That's mindful eating. And listening to our body's cues on hunger and fullness. Am I really still hungry after I ate that plate? Do I really need more? No, I don't think so. I am full. Planning ahead. I mean, if you're going to be going to any kind of gatherings, parties, larger events where food's going to be served, I mean, maybe consider a smaller portion of food before you go so you're not starving when you arrive. Moderation, again, treat it moderation. That comes back to the plate size and setting limits. I don't believe in not indulging at all. Okay, I think everything in moderation is okay, but set the limit. If it's, that plate of cookies, limit it to that 1 or 2, whatever works for you, but set that limit and stick to it. Physical activity, the idea of staying regular with our exercise routines during this period of time of year is really important. I mean, if you're somebody that exercises 3 days a week and you have your pattern, stick with it during this period of time. If you're up and you're walking every morning, do that consistently. Continue doing what you're doing, which helps us do things like managing stress. And I mean, there's a lot of stress reduction techniques. We've talked a lot about them in other calls, everything from, well, Tim, from the mindful breathing to meditation to yoga to, for me, I mean, it's karate, it's guitar, it's hiking. It's all the things that work for me to stay and help me manage my stress. Social support. I mean, sharing your goals during this period of time of your health with others to help you have an accountability partner to help you stay on track during the year. Sleep is obviously very important. And being flexible. I mean, I name about a dozen things there that we could potentially be doing. Bottom line, be flexible with yourself, okay, with what you're really doing here. So again, those are just some of the ways that we can stay healthy as we come together and gather and be around each other. And again, I'm going to come back a couple of slides before, but pay attention to those other things we talked about with travel too. Use your hand cleansing gel. Remember to consume your Fortune Delight. Eat those quality foods that Tim was talking about. Again, there's a lot of things we can do to help ourselves. And speaking of foods, I mean, again, this is a time where we have an abundance of stuff, that harvest, that bounty, if you will, of the autumn time. And it's a time of year that I certainly love because I'm a person that really enjoys the soups and the warmer dishes and the stews and those kind of things. And this is a great time of year to be looking at our pumpkins, our squashes, our roots, vegetables, our nuts, our seeds, and again, some of those wonderful fruits that we were talking about. I mean, the apples, the pears, the cherries, the grapes, and a favorite of mine, garlic. Love it. Should have been born in Transylvania. I love garlic. It's just one of my favorites. Did anybody else, before we jump into a couple recipes, have anything they wanted to share about these types of foods and the seasonal bounty that we have in front of us right now?
Might have.
Jody, yeah, please.
I just have something quick, and I think sorry.
No, Judy, go on.
I thought I was talking over it. I just wanted to mention, I agree on, we're warming and thicker, the root vegetables. And sometimes people think hearty soups means creams and gravies and thicker. But if you use the root vegetables, you're going to have the thickness, and you can thicken things. Probably everyone knows this, but with cauliflower, with not as many potatoes, and mash it together and it thickens, and different things like that. So I loved your emphasis on moderation. Another thing I do, not just because I don't like to wash dishes, but I often put my greens, I use one bowl, I put my greens at the bottom. I use stir fry or a combination of a root vegetable salad, roast the roots, vegetables, and then put them on top of that. And if I really want to go all out, sometimes I use whatever stir fry or leftover chili or whatever, and I'll do the greens. Then I will actually use gluten-free ramen or something, put noodles in the middle, and then I top it with my root vegetables or my chili or whatever. So, and believe me, that is a meal in a bowl. So get creative and enjoy the foods of the season, and you'll be rewarded for it.
I love it. That's great, Judy, and gonna have to try that. And Dolphin, I mean, probably a great segue. I mean, one of the things you posted this last week was your butternut squash soup recipe, and it plays well into what I think Judy was just talking about. Can you walk us through your preparation and what you did to avoid some of the negative things, but make it a wonderful, wonderful soup?
Yeah, well, like what Judy just said is it looks and tastes like a cream-based soup, and there's zero cream in it because the squash itself is so thickening and creamy in itself. Like I still forget, like I'm eating and I'm like, I feel guilty, and it's like, no, you don't have to feel guilty. There's no dairy or nothing. Now, the recipe that you see on the right there, it does call for heavy cream at the end. But you can easily make it vegan by just throwing in some nuts, milk or whatever, or just water. Like it really, you don't really miss it without the cream. And also there's a lot of sage in it, and sage is one of the it's one of the spices that correlates with the metal element. It's great for sore throats. It's great for this time of year. And Tim had mentioned earlier about the flavor or the taste of the season. And so metal element is about pungent or spicy. So we definitely, soups and stews are a great way to get more of those pungent flavors like garlic, like cayenne and turmeric and curry flavors. This is an excellent time of year to be utilizing that flavor palette. And also one other tip that I like to use for thickening agent, of course, is using our New Plus, the Simply Herbs, because the Simply Herbs is nice because there's zero fruit in it. And so it makes the best thickener. So if you're using flour or a dairy, instead of using that to thicken a sauce or a soup, just throw in the New Plus and it works like a charm. So yeah.
What a great suggestion. And Finn, we will, for everybody, we'll kind of post your recipe again on the 5-Element website. Again, I can, the picture still does it for me. I can smell the aroma. I just want to dive into that bowl. So it looks so good. So thank you so much for sharing that. And the last couple of things we shared too is, again, from our Sunrider, and apparently I'm having some video issues. Hopefully the audio will work. But from our Sunrider Healthy Table Food Recipe book, there was a creamy corn chowder and a cream of broccoli soup that looked absolutely fabulous. So I just wanted to share those with everybody. And again, folks, I apologize for any audio or video problems we might be having here with the connections right now. But to kind of close the meeting down, we want to thank you guys for joining us and being here with us. We want to encourage everybody to please, if you're not on there already, join us, get with your upline, send us a note or something, and we'll make sure you get an invitation to our 5-Element Cycle to Wellness page, which is where we post all these calls and the recipes and the tips and the things that we're doing. So please get with us on that. And very quickly, what's coming next? We are heading towards winter time, so we will be talking about winter and the water element. We're also going to offer a couple of more in-depth training segments over these next couple of months. One will be around the immune system support, and we're going to dig back into sugar because it's such a big topic. And Finn, you did a great job of setting us up with that today, but we want to talk more about that, and we'll get into some triggers and some tips, etc., and just share with you guys a little bit more around that topic. So again, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Cheryl, Judy, Tim, Dolphin. You guys are incredible as always. Any last comments from the panel? Don't even know if we can because my video looks like it's messing up right now. But I guess with that said, since you guys can't even see me moving right now either, we want to thank you all for joining us. Hope you all do well, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Matt.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.